Welcome back to Material Fallacies Part 2, Fallacies of Oversimplification. As is obvious from the name, these fallacies err by leaving out relevant premises. They can be divided into the fallacies of dicto simpliciter, special case, composition, division, the black and white fallacy or false dichotomy, quoting out of context, stereotyping. In the dicto simpliciter, one just simply makes a oversimplified conclusion from the relevant premises. An example, man is a rational animal, therefore even an idiot can pass a logic course. Of course, this is saying things too simply. Yes, human beings are rational, but that does not necessarily mean that every single human being can pass a logic or critical thinking course. B, special case. Here, what you have is the reverse of the dicto simpliciter. Here, you're taking a special case as the rule and not the exception. So there are a lot of idiots who can't pass a logic course, therefore man is not rational. Again, this is the reverse of the first. Just because some people cannot pass a critical thinking course does not mean that human beings in general are not rational. C, the fallacy of composition. Here, what you do is you attribute what is true of a part to the whole. So, for example, Texas has more millionaires than any other state, therefore Texas is the richest state. This, of course, is a fallacious conclusion. Just because Texas has many millionaires does not mean the state as a whole is rich. The reverse is division, which is when you attribute to a part a attribute of the whole. So, an example, if 10 glasses of wine per meal is harmful to health, then 1 glass of wine per meal must be harmful to health. For it cannot be that any good things can make one bad thing. Well, obviously here, certainly a lot of alcohol is bad for you, but one drink is not necessarily so. And he'll make a great president. He comes from a good family. Well, again, this is a fallacy of division. The family might be good, but there might be members of that family who are not. The black and white fallacy or false dichotomy. And here, what you do is present someone with a false choice between two things when there could be 3, 4, or many more other choices. An example, no man is perfect, therefore all men are wicked. So here you have the either or black and white fallacy. Either all men are angels or all men are wicked. Well, obviously, most people are somewhere in between. F, quoting out of context. This is obvious. And of course, this is what journalists do all the time with people. They quote their what they say out of context to make them look bad or make them look good, depending. But if you see the statement in the entire context, then of course your opinion may change quite dramatically. Stereotyping. Of course, this is something that we have all the time. Stereotypes of ethnic groups, of various sexes, of various religious groups, and so forth and so on. And so this is the fallacy of stereotyping. The next group of fallacies are fallacies of argumentation. These usually make the mistake of bringing in irrelevant or hidden premises to establish a conclusion. These fallacies can be divided into non sequitur, it does not follow, ignoratio elenchi, a relevant conclusion, or ignorance of the chain connecting premises and conclusion, petitio principii, or begging the question, complex question, arguing in a circle, contradictory premises or the performative contradiction, and G, false assumption. The non sequitur is a very common fallacy, and this is one in which the conclusion simply does not follow from the premises, often because the premises have absolutely nothing to do with the conclusion. So a non sequitur is all courthouses are building, therefore all buildings are courthouses. Doesn't follow, right? Or I hate courthouses because therefore you will lose your case in court today. That is a non sequitur. Okay? Ignoratio elenchi. This is the irrelevant conclusion. Right? So, the example that Krefft gives, right? It could be argued that socialized medicine is necessary because many poor people die to lack of adequate basic medical care. The premise is true, It certainly proves something in the area of social needs, but it does not prove that socialized medicine is necessary or even useful to attain this end. Or, again, using the example from Krefft, Neville Chamberlain argued for England's appeasement of Hitler on the grounds that peace was preferable to war. The premise is true, but did not support his conclusion. In fact, his appeasement encouraged Hitler to go to war. Third, petitio principii, begging the question. This is a very, very common fallacy. Okay? And this, of course, is when the conclusion is already assumed in the premises, or it's smuggled in through the premises. To give just one example from Krefft, the accused will be given a fair trial before he is hanged. Here, of course, it is assumed by the judge that the defendant is guilty. Another example is from the atheist Christopher Hitchens, where he argues that no comfort is better than false comfort. Religion is false comfort, therefore religion is not a good thing, right? Or at least the Christian religion is not a good thing. Here, Hitchens smuggles in the conclusion in the premises, which is he assumes that religion is false comfort. This is something that has to be proven. So therefore, it is a begging the question. In other words, it begs the question, what gives you any reasons to believe that religion is false comfort? It may well be false comfort, but the argument that he gives is not adequate to that. The complex question. This is when no matter how you answer, you cannot give a good answer. So the classic example of this, how long have you stopped, since when have you stopped beating your wife? Of course, if you ask, I haven't, stopped beating my wife. Well, then you're beating your wife. And if you say I stopped beating my wife, well, then that means you did beat your wife. So this is a question which, where there's no good answer. Of course, this is what lawyers try to do with defendants all the time. Another example: do you think we should keep having these useless meetings or not? Arguing in a circle. This is when, of course, this is a variant of the begging the question or petitio principii, right? Which means that in a sense you're already assuming the conclusion in the premises. Here I just use the example from Peter Krefft. Why are you studying so hard? To pass this test. Why do you want to pass this test? To pass the course. Why do you want to pass the course? To graduate with a high grade point average. Why do you want to graduate with a high grade point average? To get a good job. Why do you want to get a good job? To make money. Why do you want to make money? To raise a family and have kids. Why do you want to raise money, raise a family, and have kids? So that they will go to college and be successful. What will make them successful in college? Studying hard for their tests. And so here you come full circle. Or another example, the world must be well ordered. Why? Because it is the work of divine wisdom. How do you know it's the work of divine wisdom? How can you doubt divine wisdom? Look how well his world is ordered. And so again, you have a circular argument. F, contradictory premises or the performative contradiction. Here is when your statement directly contradicts itself. So, well, as someone says, there is no such thing as absolute truth. This is a performative contradiction or a contradictory premises because you're stating this as if it were absolute truth. Right? Or truth changes. If you say that, then what you're saying is that that is one truth that doesn't change. Right? So, in a sense, you're contradicting yourself. Another way, which you find often, is that the only sort of truth is that given to us by the scientific method, right? Or science is the source of all truth. That in itself is also a performative contradiction or contradictory premise, since that statement itself cannot be established scientifically or by the scientific method. And then there's false assumptions, which is similar to begging the question, but it is more covert. It is the basis, as Peter Krefft says, for many jokes. And of course, that you could read in your book on page 99. So this ends part 2 of fallacies of argumentation, also fallacies of oversimplification. Thank you.